Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 4 of Lyon and the Truth. I'm your boy, Lyon. Excuse the audio right now, but we're doing the best we can for the live session. For those of you guys who are watching at home, it is October the 7th, which is a Monday. And I'm really excited, y'all. As I told you guys, one of the things that we're doing for the podcast is we're experimenting, man. We're trying new things and we're talking about different subjects and different topics. Because we're trying to find our niche. Trying to find where we fit. You ever had that issue before? Trying to find where you fit, where you belong. Right? Well, this is episode 4. And today's episode, we're talking about the headlines. We're talking about all the headlines that are going on in the world. And we're going to see. We about to see. We're about to see. Make sure that we're about to see, you know, if this is something that we like. You know, to be talking topical. Can we talk topics? Can we talk things that are going on today in today's day and age? Thank you for all the likes, by the way, for those of you guys who are watching on Facebook. Man, you know, we're hitting episode 4. You know, the other episodes were just fun. They were just really fun. For those of you guys who are watching, man, thank you just for stopping on by. Episode 1, we talked about alcohol. We had our first sponsor with Rum Coqui. Speaking of which, for those of you guys who are watching right now, we got some people watching from Los Angeles. Monica, what up, girl? For those of you guys who are watching right now, and for those of you guys who are listening as well, we got up until Friday. Just add people, like it, share the podcast. Episode 1, we talked about alcohol, and the sponsor was a sponsor by the name of Rum Coqui. Rum Coqui, some good friends of ours. Augustine's, big shout out to you. They got this thing called Rum Coqui. I'm not sure if you ever heard about this, but if you ever had coquito, it's coquito on steroids, y'all. Rum Coqui is not sold in Chicago. That's where, obviously, Lyon and the Truth is headquartered. However, they do sell it in the Midwest, and you can get yourself a free bottle. For those of you guys who are watching, just share, just like, just subscribe. Let people know that this podcast exists. The person who does the most work is going to get that bottle. I'm going to deliver them personally. I'm going to bring 2 cups, and I'm going to drink about 3/4 of it, all right? And I'm warning you now. I'm just letting you know ahead of time in advance, so there's no issue. So we talked about alcohol. We talked about some really cool, fun tidbits about alcohol. Our second episode, we had DJ Nonstop, DMX's official DJ. We chopped it up with him, the heavy hitter himself. We talked about his time with K7. We talked about some crazy stories with DMX, and we talked about where he is now in the DJ game here in Chicago. And then episode 3, we had Roberto Perez from Urban Pilon here, the chef. We talked about his clothing line. We talked about his what he's doing in food, what he's doing on in education, what he's doing with cultural. With cultural proliferation of his culture, of his Puerto Rican culture, and he's doing some amazing things. Today is unlike any other, of course. Today we're talking about today's topics. Just wanted to remind you guys, before we get into our episode today, you guys can find our podcast on all streaming platforms. I'm really proud to say that, man. I'm really happy about that. You can find it on iTunes. You can find it on iHeartRadio. You can find it on Google Play. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it on, you just find it anywhere. Spotify. I'm really happy about that, man. It took a lot of work, but we did it rather quickly. The content, right? Podcasts are all over the damn place now. So before we go into today's episode, I want to tell you guys about what's been happening around my neck of the woods. Some stuff has been happening with me. What's up, Didi? Checking in from Facebook, and Kaylee, Carmen also on Facebook. What's up, y'all? So I'm in the market. Let's just say I'm in the market of purchasing a firearm. All right. I know a lot of people have their misgivings, or like their thing about guns in the house. Now I got a 10-year-old. I have a 10-year-old in the house too. So I was really afraid about having a gun in the house. But it's for a lot of reasons. Personally, what ended up happening was, and I don't know why in particular, but what happened out in Orlando, the shooting out in Orlando inside that nightclub, actually really motivated me to get a gun. It pushed me to get my conceal and carry license, my FOID card, all that good stuff. I ended up spending a couple $100, 100 something, for my firearm. I'm not really happy with what I chose, but whatever. It's a whole different story. And I just, like, recently I've been getting the itch, guys. It's like when you have a car and you want that brand new one. You know that feeling you get that everything that you see, you just want to buy? That's how I'm feeling with the gun. For those of you guys who don't have those feelings, who don't know what it feels like, or if they're afraid of it, I challenge you. If you have a friend that has a 4-weight card, you can actually visit a gun range. And when you visit that gun range, they actually let you shoot. You know, you can even rent a weapon there. And it just, you know, you're going to have nerves. You're going to have nerves like anybody else. It's going to be scary. Shoot, I'm, 200-something pounds and 35, 36-year-old man. I gave you 2 ages. 36-year-old man. And man, the first couple times I went shooting, I was shaking in my boots. I was shaking like Woody in Toy Story. Like you couldn't tell me nothing. Like I was scared. And even to this day, sometimes when I carry a certain gun, I get scared. I shake, and I'm afraid of recoil, hurting myself, looking stupid. But at the end of the day, I was taught how to handle one. So I don't know, man. For those of you guys who are watching and for those of you guys who are listening, man, if you guys can hit me up, Facebook.com/LionInTheTruth, Instagram.com/LionInTheTruth, YouTube.com/C/LionInTheTruth, and comment, visit. Let me know your thoughts on getting another gun. I have a gun right now that I keep in a safe. I keep it very safe. I keep it very far away from my kid. But when I do have it, it's like there's no feeling in this world. But when you have a gun on your side, you do feel a lot safer. You're not as afraid. I mean, I'm not inviting problems per se. Like I don't want to make it seem as though like I walk around with a gun at my waist because I'm the big shit. It's more so now I'm not as apprehensive when I go to a place that might, in normal circumstances I might be afraid to, or like might be kind of reluctant to walk into. So, right now I'm looking at buying a gun. I'm looking at buying something for the house. But aside from the safety piece, I do like the fact that it's kind of like sporty. What I mean by that is I never played darts before. If you ever played darts, it sounds kind of dumb, but if you never really played darts, it's actually kind of fun when you're aiming a dart at a dartboard and you're scoring up points. And it's very similar to that in that effect where, when you go and take your gun to the shooting range, you're trying to, you're showing your marksmanship. You're shooting a gun and it's fun. You know what I mean? And I like trying new weapons. I like machine guns. I like shotguns. I like big old magnums. And I like looking like Clint Eastwood and Dirty Harry. It's real fun, man. Look, so that's the next thing coming on up in my life. I'm kind of torn between a 12-gauge shotgun and an AR-15 for those of you gun freaks out there. Hope you guys like my new background, by the way. For those of you guys who are watching, I have we have the whole new background finally. We felt like the Great Wall wasn't doing no justice for the show. Aside from that, I've been getting an itch, man. I've been getting an itch to get a tattoo. But the problem is they're damn expensive. I don't know if you guys have ever had this problem. The issue with tattoos being expensive. Like, I feel like a lot of people who have them tattoo homies, like I get real jealous because like oftentimes, you ask somebody how much their tattoos cost and they tell you some stupid number like 200, barely get like a tattoo the size of a stamp on my wrist and stuff like that. It's kind of, it's kind of pissy. It pisses you off, but that's the next thing I'm in the market for. Tattoos and guns. Christmas is coming up. If you don't know what to get me, tattoos and guns. Lastly, what's going on in my world? I'm really getting into the gym thing again, starting up again, and I'm having a hard time with Monday. If you guys know what I'm talking about, Monday is the hardest. It's eating like shit the entire weekend to only say it's cool. I'm gonna start I'm gonna start at my gym. I'm gonna start fasting on Monday, and then Monday comes up, and shit, you know where to be found. Anybody else has this problem? My God, please. Chime in. What are some of the things that work for you when it comes to Monday? How do you stay committed? How do you stay on beast mode when Monday comes around and you still want to get that Illuminati's at lunchtime? I don't know. What are some of the things that works for you guys out there in the internet world? Hit me up here on Facebook.com/LionInTheTruth. So let's get into it, guys. Episode 4. We have some really interesting topics I wanted to talk to everybody about. Please chime in if you guys have some some input, some ideas. So the other day, I was online. I found out about this young woman by the name of Ruby Rose. Now, Ruby Rose, if you guys ever watched Orange is the New Black, she was one of the inmates on Orange is the New Black. She was a Hollywood it girl for a hot minute, and she just recently landed Batwoman. All right, I'm sure you guys have noticed that the Green Arrow universe or the DC universe has been killing it on TV. So if you've been watching Green Arrow, or if you've been watching The Flash, or you're watching Supergirl, or if you've been watching, there's so many of them. Gotham, there's just so many DC shows out there. One of them that's going to start hitting heavy and hard is Batwoman. And Ruby Rose is slated to play, Batwoman herself. She's undergone emergency surgery after a serious injury left her at risk of being paralyzed. The actress and model said on Instagram. She herniated 2 discs, and it happened during a stunt. Now, I found this kind of interesting because I did a small stint in acting for about a year or two. There are a lot of bald Hispanic men with beards who are actors, by the way. But, I mean, nonetheless, I did my share of acting, and I have a good buddy of mine who is actually a stuntman. Now, I'm not sure if you guys have ever been into acting. If you haven't, you don't really hear much about stuntmen around, not on social media. But for those of you guys who are in the acting world, you might catch a stuntman or two. A buddy of mine was a stuntman, and the things that this guy talks about as far as the stunts and the complexity of the stunts and the fact that he's just throwing his body around, and it's disposable. Basically, he's not paid as much as an actor is, and he's doing more of the physicality, more of the physical work. So it gets me to start wondering specifically about stuntmen in Hollywood. I'm sure you guys might have heard grumblings about it, and the messed up thing is, you hear them really quickly. They just touch on it. They touch on it in the news. So and so was maimed in a stunt gone wrong in this movie. So and so broke a shoulder, or has dislocated an arm, or broken knee on a stunt gone wrong. I think someone actually was paralyzed, or might even died even on the set of Transformers when a cable unhinged and slashed somebody across the head. It's insane how stunt people are often just disposable. And if you think about it, the actors, it's nothing different for the actors as far as the public is concerned. You hear this for 5 minutes on the news, and you go on to the next story. I wonder if there is a platform that stunt people, or auxiliary actors and actresses can kind of participate in, so they can get that recognition, receive the recognition that they deserve. Because if I'm not mistaken, there's guys like the Rock's stuntman who just basically follow the Rock around and does all the things that Rock can't or doesn't want to do because it's dangerous. Now, there are some, obviously, like the Rock's stuntman, who can really take advantage of the Rock's fortune, of his good fortune, if you will. Also, like the fact that the Rock blesses this guy with a car or a truck online, or the fact that this guy's even working as much as the Rock is. I'm assuming that the Rock stunt double gets paid pretty. But how about everybody else? I did a movie once where a girl had to hip toss me. She basically beat me up because she was a detective and I was trying to kill her. And she had to hip toss me. Now, what a hip toss, for those of you guys who don't really even know, most people are going to know what a hip toss is. But a hip toss, basically, you're swinging somebody using their body weight over your hip, right? And their body weight follows them to the ground. So if you ever seen like these big MMA fighters or UFC fighters like a Ronda Rousey who have immaculate hip tosses, these hip toss can pull the air right out of you. It can crack a sternum. A properly placed hip toss. And I'm getting hip toss on the concrete. We're not talking about on a mat. We're talking about take after take after take. And that's another thing. We're not talking about just recording it one time. You record it until the director feels like you're done. And then sometimes you got to go back and record it again. So imagine how these stunt people feel. We're talking about, and that's just a hip toss. Imagine jumping out of a building or climbing up a helicopter like they do in these big movies, running from an explosion, jumping from a building into water, breaking through glass. Of course, it's not real glass, but I just wonder, what is Hollywood's? If someone had a voice for Hollywood, and it's funny I say that as I said that right now. For those of you guys who are watching at home, Enrique Guzman just checked in on Facebook, a good buddy of mine, and that's exactly the person that came to mind when we brought it up. We talked about stuntmen. We talked about stuntmen putting their bodies on the line, for the shot. And oftentimes you have a lot of actors who, like anybody else in the business, are really vying for their shot. This is their opportunity to show up and show out. This is your opportunity to show up and show out, and you're not going to complain. You can't complain, because not only is this your opportunity to make it in Hollywood, sometimes this is your payday. For those of the actors that don't do that do this full time, that's your payday. You got to keep those sore ribs quiet, that dislocated shoulder quiet until you're done filming, and then you ice it up. Are stunt people disposable? And I think the actions of Hollywood are going to say, yeah, they are. There has to be, I'm sure there's a stunt person's union that protects these that protects these amazing actors. But imagine, these are the people that do what actors don't want to do. These are the ones, that are in the forefront of that, of those tricky shots. So another thing I wanted to talk about was recently I started watching that. I saw that film Joker. I found it fascinating after checking out some of these the details on Joker. So USA Today saying Joker gets the last laugh with record ticket sales. Final numbers are expected Monday, that's today, for the supremely dark new movie Joker, which grossed an estimated $93.5 million in ticket sales over the weekend. A record October opening, despite concerns over its violent themes. The previous October record holder was the Spider-Man spinoff Venom. It was at $80 million. Joker earned $140 million from 73 markets, resulting in a stunning $234 million global debut. Jesus. $234 million global debut. Now, I'm not sure if you guys remember Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix has done amazing work. He did The Gladiator. Was it Gladiator? Yeah, he did Gladiator. He did Walk the Line. And then there was a movie that he did recently that was shunned. A lot of people didn't like it because the press that he did for it was really bizarre. He did some bizarre press to kind of build the buzz around this movie, and it just didn't fall well. I think it was that he became a rapper, and he started basically trying to freestyle on shows, on late night, and basically people were just telling him, stay in his place, stay in his pocket, you don't want to be a rapper, and he lost some credibility because of it. It turned out to be a stunt, a promotional stunt for the actual show, movie itself. I'm sure he's done some movies since then. Fast forward to October 4th, 2019. Now, I kept hearing things online that Joker was debatable. That not everybody liked it. Some people didn't. It seemed like it was almost split down the line from what some people said. That honestly, I don't recall any of the negative points, but the vast majority of the people that I saw online that were watching the Joker, that seen the Joker, absolutely loved it. And they had two things to say normally. Now, by no means am I a statistician or a scientist or do I have the official numbers to this shit here? But these are the two things that people said about Joker. Number one was it is dark. All right, and if you guys know DC films are customarily dark, which is pretty interesting to me. Number two was that this was a fantastic performance by Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix delivered some people say an Oscar-winning performance? An Oscar-winning performance as the Joker. Now, being a comic book buff, you hear a lot of stories about, superheroes and villains. And one of the reasons why I love the Joker so much is because not a lot of origin stories came about for the Joker. Whereas all the main characters, all the main, villains, usually the main villains, are going to have an amazing story. Their story is ironclad, usually, or at least the basic points are, and it's canon, which means no matter what writer or illustrator picked up the story, there's a certain storyline. We all know Peter Parker was bitten by a radioactive spider, which he became Spider-Man. Right. We all know that the Hulk was shot or was involved in a gamma ray explosion, which gave him superhuman strength and abilities. We all know this. That's canon. No matter what writer picks up the story or creates further storyline, that is a non-negotiable. Joker, with the exception of the Killing Joke, Joker doesn't have an origin story. A lot of people created origin stories. A lot of people created origin stories for the Joker, but none of them are canon. And the reason why is because I think it adds to his allure when you don't really know where he came from. And I find it fascinating how Heath Ledger in the movie, if you guys remember in Dark Knight, how he continuously gives almost contradictory stories about how he received scars on his face. And I love directors' interpretations of really complicated, and minute details of complex characters, like the Joker. The Joker is a very, very complex character. Why? Because no one has an origin story about him. You can make him up, but he can't just be a maniac. Nah. He cannot just be a maniac. That's a cop-out. The cop-out is to make Joker a maniac. Because anyone's a maniac. A cop-out is to make Punisher just a good shooter. It's a cop-out. Anybody can be a good shooter. Anybody in the military or, marksmen can be could be good shooters, or professional shooters can be good shooters. What is it about the Punisher? What is it about the Joker that make him such a fascinating story? And in this Joker, they created a symphony. A symphony. Now, I'm not telling you this is the best movie I've ever seen. It's not. But for a comic book movie that was dark, that had so many different layers, that had a message, political message, that had amazing cinematography. Enrique Guzman says the performance was great, but the cinematography and the music score played a role in making Joaquin's performance shine. In my opinion, that is absolutely correct, Enrique. Thanks for chiming in, brother, man. The cinematography on this film was amazing. You think as just a normal, film buff, or if you like to go to the movies and you like to have just a good time, right? And you're one of those people. Chances are not all the time, but there's a lot of people that are like that. They'll go to this film and maybe they think it started off slow. But the common consensus is it's dark, but he played a good role. Now, Yes, it was dark. It made me very uncomfortable. Icon, what's up? Thanks for checking in, brother. It makes you very uncomfortable, the movie. You feel me? There are times, well, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but you got to watch the movie. There are times when you're sitting through the film and you find yourself cringing in your seat because of either what the Joker is going through or what he's putting someone else through. Right? And you just find yourself just cringing up. I love horror flicks. Horror flicks, that's my ish, y'all. Because I love to feel something when I'm watching a film. And Joker makes you feel a lot of things. And maybe it's not suspense, maybe it's not thrill, maybe it's not, drama, but this discomfort that I felt was unlike a discomfort that I felt in a movie in a long time. Number one. Number two, we're so used to Joker being played by a over-the-top character. We're so used to this character of Joker just being, this maniac, laughing, joking, and growing up in the 90s as a child. I remember Batman the Animated Series with the voice of Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker. And that is almost the most iconic voice for the Joker. It's the high-pitched, cackling, homicidal, throw anybody under the bus for a laugh and for chaos. Just kind of almost slapstick, and then you think Jack Nicholson cracking jokes, with henchmen. You think what's this guy from 30 Seconds to Mars? The newest one from the newest one before Joker. I forget his name. After Heath. And, you see some thug, still over the top. Every single one person's over the top. They played this Joker so perfectly, they didn't have to make him over the top. He didn't have to change his voice. He didn't have to play a character role. He played himself. And I'm not going to get any more deeper into that because going deeper, you're going to be getting into some spoilers. But he played himself. He landed it. And the beauty of this film is it was so open to interpretation. I love Marvel movies. Marvel movies are my shit. To me, it's like I love them because I was born on Marvel. A lot of people can commiserate. A lot of people would agree. Just simply the simple fact that you're born on Marvel and comic books, you're gonna watch these comic book movies and you're gonna love them simply because you loved them as a kid. They could be trash and you're still gonna love them. The Joker is not one of those movies. The Joker completely turned that idea on its head because I was so used to Marvel movies feeding me exactly what I wanted to see. Marvel movies are going to show you the exact same thing over and over again, even though it's good. And again, they're my favorite movies. They're going to show you the origin story. They're going to show you the comedy. They're going to give you the action. They're going to give you the suspense. They're going to introduce a cool villain. They're going to have a very straightforward storyline. They're going to have some kind of twist. Simple. This movie has so many different facets that as a viewer, you are not left with an exact idea of who the Joker is. You're not even left with an exact idea of what the movie was about. Believe it or not. Some people might think that it was very straightforward and the timeline of events that happened in his life were very straightforward, and at the end happened. I'm not going to give it away, and that's it. But if you go back and you watch that movie and you watch the people talking about this movie, you're going to see that there is more to the story than just what you see on film. Okay? We'll leave it at that on Joker. Guys, if you guys saw Joker, please add your comments and your questions down below on the live feed, or if you're listening on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, or Google, hit us up at facebook.com/Lyon and the Truth. Just chime in. Hit us up on YouTube, youtube.com/C/Lyon and the Truth, and let us know. Let us know what your thoughts are. Another thing that I've been I was online yesterday watching some viral video of the new taste of the month. Some chick who made me want to just gouge my eyes out. And one of the things she said while she was showing off her brand new quote-unquote $1 million nails, I'm not sure if you've seen this viral video, she used this term. It's called no cap. I'm not sure, for those of you guys who are watching out there, have you heard of this term called no cap? Now, like I get it. Like, right, every generation is going to have their slang. Right? Our parents had their slang, and their parents had slang, and my parent, and then, our generation has our slang. We have our things, like we had chicken head and hoochie. Booty call was ours. A little bit later on, you had things like lit. This new thing is called no cap. Now I feel like most slang terms, they have an origination. They come from somewhere good. They come from somewhere understandable, right? Turn up. You guys know turn up? What does turn up mean? It means a lot of these turn up the volume, turn up the energy. You pull out like this. Turn up is pretty self-explanatory. Get lit. What does get lit mean? That means have a good time, light up, drink, whatever the case is. It has an origination, an origin that makes sense. No cap. What in the hell does no cap come from? Now, people are saying that no cap comes from the term cap, right? To cap. And if you say cap, what we remember capping was shooting, right? And to me, that sounds like the most basic way of saying shooting now. I busted a cap in his ass. Like, no one says that anymore. But anyway, back in the day, that's what capping meant. Nowadays, capping means to lie. Like, I was trying to think of the origination. Where does capping come from? And the only thing I can think of is the idea of caps, like caps lock. Not cap. Yeah, like caps lock. Like when you send a text message and you caps lock it, you are being a little more like you're exclamation. It's like I'm gonna cap something so that they believe me. I'm gonna put in all capitals, right? Cap. Does that make sense? So, hey, for those of you guys who have parents out there, this is one of the things the kids are saying. Cap. No cap means no lie. So, like, for example, when someone says, for real, it's the same as saying no cap. Or the opposite of saying no cap. You say, for real, no cap. I'm not lying. For real. So you guys learned something today. You learned one of these new slang terms that the kids are saying these days. I swear to God, I hate this generation. I ain't gonna lie. For those of y'all young bucks who are listening, I hate you. I want to kick you in the face. I don't know what it is. And every generation hates the generation under them. Every generation hates the generation under them, and this generation ain't no different, right? It all started with them damn rappers, those mumble rappers, talking shit about our hip hop royalty, talking shit about Tupac and Biggie. Them to us, that's like the epitome of gangster. That's the epitome of raw hip hop language, right? And now you got these little Xanax ass kids with tattoos on their face. Shoot, with tattoos on their face and a mop on their head. Look like they they dumped their head in pixie stick dust. I don't know, with multiple colors. Like, what? Where do they find these kids at? Why is that cool now? And aside from that, why is it cool not to give a fuck? When did it become cool? I guess every generation, it was cool not to care. But I feel like maybe our parents, those 60s babies. Yeah, exactly, Diana. Diana hit us up 69. That's exactly who I'm referring to. These colored haired freaks, right? Like, that's exactly what I'm talking about, though. Like, in the 60s with the flower power and the Vietnam War, like, that generation, they cared. They mobilized. They protested. They fought. Yeah, they fought against the military even and politicians, but still, they believed in something. They fought for something. I feel like this generation stands for nothing. They don't stand for nothing. Look at the clothes, man. They all wear the same clothes. I guess every generation wears the same clothes. Every generation is going to do the exact same thing in some form or way. When is a generation going to come by that's just good with their credit, that just respects their elders, that has reverence for the pioneers of hip-hop that came before them? Man, if hip-hop is this trash now, oh my God, my son's son, he's going to be listening to shit on a stick. So I'm not sure if you guys have seen this, but a commissioner puts a police officer on super blast. I'm sure you guys have probably seen this video by now. It's all over the internet. Florida City Commissioner Mike Gellin shocked his colleagues during an award ceremony for outstanding officers the week before last, when he claimed one of the honorees was a bad police officer who had falsely arrested him years earlier. So this guy waited. This is the definition of petty. This guy waited until until there was police officers being honored, right, in Tamarack, Florida. Broward Sheriff's Office Deputy Joshua Gallardo, right? He was winning the Deputy of the Month award. And this commissioner, a Florida City commissioner, called him up to the stage, and about 3 feet away from him, told him he's a terrible cop. He has no business being there, and he doesn't deserve that award. And the question that I have for you guys is, when is it okay to put someone on blast? Right? See, I have a problem, and that problem is that oftentimes I'm a little too honest. You know that bullshit ass question that they ask you in interviews when they ask you what's one of your weaknesses? I always say the exact same thing. What I always say is this: I'm not going to be one of these interviewees that's going to give you a fake answer like I work too hard, I'm a workaholic, or I'm too honest. But the reality is, there are times where I probably need a little bit of work on tact. How and when to say things so that I keep relationships intact. I have that problem. And I don't want to be racist, but I sometimes feel like it's a Puerto Rican thing too. Or a minority thing. I don't know. But I definitely believe that us Puerto Ricans have this problem. Dominicans have this problem. I'm going to say it. That's the way it is. We have this problem of shutting up. We can't. It's hard. If you're at home and you know somebody, you have an ex that just doesn't know when to shut up, or a friend or a sister or a cousin, aunt, just doesn't know when to shut up, raise your hand. I guarantee you, if you're Hispanic, you're going to raise your hand both hands up. You're going to have both feet up, nipple pointing it in the air. But when is it okay to put someone on blast? Do you live by a code, right? You know those people that say the exact same thing? Oh, I don't have no hair on my tongue, honey. I ain't got no hair on my tongue. I'm going to tell him exactly the way it is, no matter what he is, no matter who he is. Do people like that get places in life? Because I feel like no matter what position I've ever held, the people who've done that are either on one side or the other side of the spectrum. On the one side, they're a trailblazer. They have no problem standing up to what's right and putting somebody in their place and being honest, and being forthright, and if they don't agree, they're going to tell you. That's integrity. And on the other hand, those are the same people that don't go anywhere in their job because they can't keep their mouth shut. And yes, we all know there's a time and a place to do all that shit. There's a time and a place to do all that, to put somebody in their spot. But are you living true to yourself if you don't? Well, could this commissioner have continued on with his life, not caring, with no issue at all, had he not said something? Could this Florida commissioner gone by without nothing eating him up inside, without addressing this officer that wrongfully arrested him. You know, some might say that he couldn't have, and he's right in doing so. That he actually said something he should have. But is this one of those situations where it's a time and a place? Tell me what you guys think, man. Hit me up on Facebook. Let me know. Facebook.com/Lyon with a Y and the truth. Let me know what you guys think about this. About the Florida commissioner that waited until a specific officer was being awarded a freaking Officer of the Month award until telling him in front of everybody, including the honoree's family members, that he was a terrible officer for a wrongful arrest that the officer was a part of. All right, moving on. For those of you guys who don't know, election time is next year 2020. And this is a big year for us. You guys have been hearing what's been going on the TV. You guys are watching what's going on CNN, on Fox News. You guys are seeing what's happening on Facebook. The world seems to be divided. Although it might seem on Facebook, all your friends, might swing one way rather than the other. I guarantee you that the other half or 99% of the world that's not on Facebook or that you don't see on Facebook might feel another way. So that being said, I wanted to share with you guys just a little bit of information on Democrats that are running for president. All right, because we all know the Republican who is running for president. We know that Donald Trump's going to be running again for 2020. He's going to be running. He has like two other opponents, but it seems like the Democrats just love to just beat each other up and try to fight for the presidency. So I'm going to give you a quick synopsis of the 6 Democrats that are actually running. They're actually doing some decent things. And I'm going to start off with Joseph Biden. All right, for those of you guys who have been living under a rock, Joe Biden, you guys already know this guy's been weird lately. He continues to make political gaffe after political gaffe, and even though he's announced that he was running fairly recently, but yet no one seems to care. If anything, the voters are even more in support of him. He's really starting to show his age, though, and he's super weird with kids. Why is no one talking about this? Why is no one talking about over and over again, right? Because, okay, people talked about it, but we need to zero in on this shit, right? If Joseph Biden were to talk to my son the way he talks to young girls on stage with him, in front of all these cameras, whispering in their ears, him and I are going to be tussling, y'all. Him and I are going to get some cream corn, and we rolling in the dirt. Let me make sure that my Google Home is off because I don't want the CIA hearing this. Mr. Biden, you and I are going to be rolling in some corn if you talk to my son in an inappropriate fashion. We got Pete Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg. All right, this guy's openly gay and married candidate. Has probably received the biggest gift of notoriety during his campaign. But he recently hit an obstacle when there was an officer-involved shooting of an African-American man back in South Bend, Indiana, where he serves as mayor. All right, that's tough. That's tough, man. When you're thrown under the bus due to some kind of political gaffe like that, something comes back to haunt you. But I feel like it only sticks to some people. It only sticks to some people because Joe Biden is the freaking toddler whisperer, and nothing's happening. You know, if anything, he's gaining momentum. You got Bernie Sanders, 38 years. Sanders, the self-proclaimed Democratic socialist, has been the longest-sitting independent congressperson. He wants tax incomes over a certain threshold to help make college tuition free and increase Social Security benefits. And a majority of his funding comes from individual donors in increments less than $200. Look, I don't know about this whole Democratic socialist thing. All I know is Bernie talks something about relieving college debt, and I'm all about that. Because at this rate, my kids' are going to be paying for my college loans. We got Elizabeth Warren, Massachusetts U.S. Senator, from Harvard Law professor. She's been in politics 10 years. She's proposing a wealth tax on net worth over a certain threshold, and she's vowed to take no money from any billionaires or their PACs in 2020 race. I like that idea. I think it's a damn atrocity. I heard this from somewhere. I think it was a comedian who said it. I think it was Larry the Cable Guy, if I'm not mistaken. He said that politicians should be like NASCAR vehicles, in that if they're sponsored by someone, they have to wear that company's organizational logo or sign or name somewhere on their body. Now, if that is not motivation for people to vote, when you start seeing the companies that are funding these people, that is an amazing idea. I love it. And lastly is Kamala Harris, 16-year political career. Started as a prosecutor, district attorney, attorney general, and U.S. Senate seat. Her goal is to overturn Trump's 2017 tax cuts with her LIFT Act. Her financiers include Warner Media, Google's parent company, Alphabet, University of California, and 21st Century Fox. Oh, that's interesting. So she got some big people behind her. Recently, Joseph Biden has been killing it. He's getting 26% of the votes. That was as early as 2 weeks ago. Elizabeth Warren's next with 20%. Not of the votes. What am I talking about? I'm talking about individual contribution. We're talking about money earned, money picked up, and weekly news coverage in particular. Bernie Sanders is at 16%. Now, one thing I like about Bernie Sanders is I'm watching dude online, and he's meeting with Cardi B. He's meeting with Calle 13. He's meeting with anybody who wants to live. Man, he's meeting with all the cool people. Man, why is Bernie not killing? Like, Bernie's meeting with everybody. He's meeting with Oprah. He's meeting with Obama. He's meeting with all the cool people, and he's still third on the polls. I'm getting mad, man. I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like Bernie should be doing a lot more different things. I feel like he should be popping a lot more. Imagine Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders being 80-something years old, right? Coming out in a hip-hop concert, a hippity-hoppity. Imagine Bernie Sanders coming out there in the rap concerts, doing like young shit. No cap. I'm going to be running for president, no cap. Tekashi 6ix9ine declines witness protection. Now, this tells me something about this generation. He's passing on federal government offer for witness protection so he can continue with his rap career. Let me tell you something. If 6ix9ine gets back on track as a multi-million-dollar rapper, after all the snitching, after this guy read off Santa Claus's naughty list, if this guy comes back from this and sells millions, I'm never listening to anybody under the age of 18 in my life. Y'all lost all cred with me. Imagine that. What can you say about rap now, right? When growing up, gangster rap had such a hold on hip hop, and it left a standard, if you will. All right, it's not like the all around standard. Like, we all know, hip hop has different facets. You have lyrical artists, and you have artists who are gangster and thug. But for the majority of it, when you talk about hip hop that's popular, there is a certain bravado, a sense of machismo when we're talking about hip hop. No snitching. You know, you gotta be a thug. You gotta walk around strapped, kidnapping, kicking down your door, shooting up the family. Whether it was real or not, it's this aura of being of badassery that follows hip hop. 6ix9ine had that. Tekashi 6ix9ine had that. Okay, yeah, he was rolling with Treyway, he was rolling with some Bloods. He was in, New York. He was repping hard. He was traveling. He was treating all these the Chicago rappers that everybody was afraid of, like Dirk and Keith. He was trying to punk them by showing up in the hood for 3.6 seconds and jumping back into the security car. This guy becomes state's witness against all the people that conspired to have him kidnapped and even possibly murdered, going exactly against what he always claimed he was, a G. He went against the G code. His expectation is to come out and back into the game. And I just wonder if this guy's going to be embraced, man. I'm just wondering if this guy's going to be embraced. I'm wondering if the streets are going to hug this guy. I'm wondering if the young generation that knows nothing about hood culture or street life or urban culture, like thug life, gangster culture, gang life, I'm wondering if they're going to embrace him because that's all they remember. Or is this guy blackballed? Is no one going to mess with him? Is no one going to fuck with him because he's 6'9" and he ratted everybody out? Speaking of rap, Yeezy was talking about coming up with his album Jesus is King, and his unofficial spokesperson, or what do you call them, marketing agent, Kim Kardashian, plugged on her Instagram a album list, right, a discography, if you will, even though we haven't seen a disc since 1982. It was basically promised for the 29th, and from my understanding, it hasn't even come out yet. For those of you guys who are in Chicago, and for those of you guys who are in a lot of major cities, you guys might have heard of what he does called Sunday service. Now there are people out there. Let me put you guys on game. No cap. There are people out there that Yeezy cannot do no wrong, yo. There are people out there that Yeezy is God. G-A-W-D. G-A-H-D. God. Right? As a matter of fact, what is it? Well, I remember you guys remember the controversy that Yeezy kept talking about. I just told you who I am. I am God. Right? What is it with Yeezy and like talking about other people, talking about God? You did Yandi, Life of right, Gandhi, Life of Pablo. He's talking about Pablo Picasso, Pablo Escobar. He's talking about famous Pablos, Yeezus, right? In Yeezus we trust. His comparison to Jesus. He's doing Sunday service, right, which is his kind of modern take on worship music. Right, he's making Jesus. He's making talking about Jesus cool again on rap. Well, I mean, what he did? What Jesus Walks, Yandi, Pablo, Yeezus. What is his complex? What is his deal? Mom passed away, and this guy lost his shit, and no one wants to say it. No one wants to say it. Instead, the only things you hear about Yeezy. I like the old Yeezy. I like college dropout Yeezy. No one wants to say that when his mom passed away, he went crazy. Now he's just crazy Yeezy. That's what he is. He ain't Yeezy no more. Now he's crazy Yeezy. Mama passed away. This guy lost his damn mind. You've seen him on TMZ, acting a damn fool, acting like a caged elephant. Right? Going crazy. Is Yeezy overrated? And if y'all tell me he's a genius, don't even talk to me. Get that shit out. Don't even talk to me if you say that Yeezy is a genius. Because anybody can make sweatpants. And just because he makes sweatpants popular doesn't make you a genius. Someone made lip gloss popular. And now it ain't no more. Selling shoes for over $400 is nothing new. His music is not that groundbreaking. At one point it was because he had a different producing method that no one was doing. But you mean to tell me that rap or rappers weren't sampling other people's beats? All he did was screw them up. Screw them meaning he sped them up. He chopped them and sped them up. I'm sorry, screwing means slowing it down. But he chopped them, he sped them up. Yes, he sampled. Sampling has been happening in rap since rap was rap. Yeezy is just popular. And he's an underdog. People always root for an underdog. And those are the people I can't stand. everybody hates somebody, and there's other people that just don't want to hate them because everybody hates them. Join me in hating Yeezy. I can't stand Yeezy. Yeah, but let Yeezy be standing right here offering me a deal. Whoo! I'll run. The McRib is back. You heard me, y'all. The McRib is back. Bringing back the popular McRib sandwich for a limited time. McDonald's, right? It's gonna be early. It's gonna be available as early as Monday, October 7th. That's today. In more than 10,000 restaurants. The McRib. It's a boneless pork, barbecue sauce, onions, pickles on a hoagie-style bun. It was launched in 1981. So that's almost 40 years old, y'all. It came back last October for a limited run, and you can find participating restaurants if you go to mcdfinder.com. Man, I just plugged the McRib for free. Someone give me the corporate offices of McDonald's for my sponsorship money. What the hell is it about this McRib that got people going crazy? I think I had a McRib once. The problem is I think I fell out of consciousness with how disgusting it. I think that's what happened. But I don't know, it makes you kind of wonder, if it does so well, why do they stop making it every year? Right? They don't stop making the Big Mac. They don't stop making chicken nuggets. Is it because it just stops being popular? And if that's the case, then is what makes it popular the fact that it goes and comes back? That it's just like a limited run? Is that what makes it popular? A McRib sandwich? So I'm not sure if you guys heard about this Damian Lillard and Shaquille O'Neal beef. So speaking of beef, right? I'm not sure if you guys heard about this, but Shaquille O'Neal and Damian Lillard, Shaq and Dame, D-O-L-L-A, Dame Dollar, they throw more fuel on the fire with a new song called I Rest My Case. That's Damian Lillard. Shaquille answered back with, I don't know, some flavor of the week rap song with Shaq Attack and Kung Fu with Shaq Fu. Damian Lillard star takes plenty of lyrical shots at the Basketball Hall of Famer, slamming the Big Diesel for 3 straight minutes in his follow-up to Rain Rain Go Away. Now, actually, if you listen to it, Damian is not that bad. Damian kind of kicks some shit. He does some shit. Like, I always feel like a certain way about NBA players who are rappers. Because I have yet to hear one sound authentic. Like I remember when Kobe did it. Or, I want to say, did Kevin Garnett do it too? I think it was Kevin, Kobe, and then you got Shaquille. The thing is, Shaquille is always going to sound like Shaquille. Shaquille's always going to sound like he's a joke, like he's seeing comedy, rapping comedy. But this is actually a thing now. But Damian actually doesn't sound that bad. I gotta admit, I kind of like where Damian went with the whole thing. Pete Davidson. He was too busy filming James Gunn's Suicide Squad to make the SNL season premiere, and this is being reported on Complex.com. Saturday Night Live made its return over the weekend with season 45, with the season 45 premiere. This is the weekend before last. But Pete Davidson was notably absent. Are comedians becoming too big for SNL too soon? Pete Davidson has a couple of years on SNL, and he's doing huge movies. Now, if you guys recall, most of the big heavy hitters on Saturday Night Live make movies. They make huge movies, right? Chris Farley, David Spade, John Belushi, John Candy, Steve Martin, Eddie Murphy. You got just a slew of actors who, they start off usually, at some kind of improv comedy or stand-up comedy, and then they make their way into Saturday Night Live, which is a lot of people's dream come true. But now you're seeing this thing of actors becoming way bigger than Saturday Night Live. Michael Che is doing huge things. John Mulaney goes from writing to, now he has a billion shows. A bunch of writers. Tina Fey, Jimmy Fallon, like all the recent big names on Saturday Night Live, the people that we watch or want to watch it for, move on quickly. And for those that are not as talented, hate to say it, like Kenan Thompson, they end up staying and sticking around. So then are comedians becoming too big for SNL? Should SNL stick to, these comedians who don't have a following, who aren't stellar on stage? Like, should they stick to improv? They're losing people fast. I mean, but then again, I guess maybe actors throughout the acting sphere, they're, it's a benefit for them because they are turning people around. People are coming in and out. Maybe it is a benefit for them. I don't know. All right, guys. For those of you guys who are watching, thank you so much just for checking out. Check us out on Facebook.com/Lyon and the Truth. Now, for those of you guys who've been watching and those of you guys who are going to watch later on, please, please, please share, like, add, subscribe. Everything that you can. Spread the word, spread the word. Those of you guys who work the hardest, one person is going to win their own bottle of rum coqui. Make sure you put in the work. I'll get you that bottle. Just make sure that you save me a sip. Don't forget, guys, you can visit us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at lyonandthetruth.com. That's Lyon with the Y. And don't forget to tell your friends. You can find us on any streaming platform pretty much. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play, iTunes. Download. Spread the word. If you guys have any questions, please visit us online at www.lyonandthetruth.com. If you want to watch the old episode, you can watch it there. Without any further ado, y'all laugh or I'm going to bite that ass. I'll talk to you guys next time. Ciao.